Yo, what is up, everybody? It is Saturday today. I am recording a couple episodes today on Saturday morning. The reason we are doing this, I've actually got a very busy beginning of the September. I've got a conference I'm going to in Nashville the first week of September. And then as soon as I'm done there, I'm actually flying to Orlando for another business conference just to kind of pick up whatever knowledge I can, learn some stuff, and bring it back to our small town business and implement it and figure out how we can continue to grow. So super excited. The one in Orlando is by Patrick Bet-David. If any of you guys have heard of him, super cool dude. He's originally from Iran, I believe. I want to say he's like in his early 50s or late 40s. Grew up when Iran, Iran's always been kind of Iran, so he grew up with some really tough times. And I think he moved out of there when he was like 8 or 10 or something like that. But now he owns one of the largest insurance agencies. He owns a very large insurance agency now. He started it from the ground up. Very cool dude. He's written a couple books that I've read. So he's got a 4-day conference in Orlando with Tony Robbins, Martha Stewart, and one other speaker I can't remember. So 4-day thing. It'll be super cool. I just bought the cheapest tickets I could just to kind of like get in the room and kind of learn some stuff. So I'll be bringing Nolan with from the office of PF, our main PF guy, one of our main PF guys. So he'll be coming with as well. So it'll be good for him to get out of the office. He's not very good at taking vacations and taking time off. So I thought this would be a good opportunity for him where he kind of like gets a vacation, but it's also a business write-off where we're going to learn some stuff and be able to implement some new things. So I think he's actually really excited for the trip as well. So just an FYI, you're probably going to see me wear the same clothes because as soon as we're done with this episode, we're going to try to record a second one right away, assuming our camera doesn't overheat like it has in the past, which we haven't had a problem with recently. So without further ado, if this is your first time listening, my name's Colton Burt, 27 years old. We own 6 fitness centers, 6 gyms, 24/7 access style. Looking to grow that number here soon. We've got some things we're working on. I'm just saying that loosely. You know, we're always looking to grow and expand. So we're at 6 currently. We've got 4 pieces of real estate, I believe. We've got a gym in Berlin that we own the property there. We've got our Watoma property where our gym is, which we own. We own the property that we are in right now. And we own our building in Princeton that our gym also occupies. So we like to kind of own or operate versus lease, which I kind of want to talk a little bit about that as well at some point. So additionally, we own a company called Priority Fitness that does gym equipment installs, moves, services. We service gym equipment and we also sell gym equipment. So if you're listening and you know somebody who needs a recumbent bike, a treadmill, a stair climber, some dumbbells, a barbell, and some weights, a squat rack, whatever it is, let us know. We can source new. Otherwise, we sell a bunch of used stuff. We've got a warehouse we rent in Red Granite. So let me know if you've got anything you need, and we'll be more than happy to help you. If this is your first time listening, go back and listen to episodes 1 through 4. If you share this podcast, which we ask that you do, we are looking for, the people who I just released an episode, I think 2 episodes ago. We're looking to create a podcast that helps people take it to the next, we're looking for individuals who need help getting to the next step or being brought up to the next level. And to say it very briefly, our company, in my opinion, sometimes I call us like the land of the misfits. Whether that's a good way to put it or not, I'm not sure, but we're a bunch of wanderers, right? A bunch of people looking for what do we want to do in life, and we all kind of came together and we're now on the same path and the same vision. A lot of us dropped out of school. A lot of us didn't know what direction we wanted to go, and we all kind of came together and we're attacking it. So the more I thought about the brand of the Grizzly Life, I want it to be clear that we're trying to help those individuals. We're trying to help those wanderers. We're trying to help those people that need to be pushed in the right direction, or need a little bit of motivation, or just need any kind of direction on what they should be doing. So I'm not here to tell them what they should or shouldn't be doing with their life, but if we can help them on their health and fitness journey, nutrition-wise, workout-wise, mental health-wise, if we can help on their financial, if we can help them save money or start a retirement or retirement account, or maybe get their first credit card or pay off some student loan debts or whatever. We want to be that inner circle friend that helps take them to the next level. So a lot of us have a small group of friends, 3 to 5 of us, and sometimes you're looking for that leader, that person to kind of help you level up in this world. So that's what we want this podcast to be. We want to urge people to be the best versions of themselves. We want to urge people to be 1% better. It's all about the long-term play, not the immediate term, or it's not about tomorrow. It's a bigger picture than that, right? We've got a lifetime to live. So anyways, there's my introduction for you. Please share the podcast with anybody you know that might need that. The podcast is also a good fit for anybody, right? If you're in the fitness field, if you work out all the time, I think there's still some good valuable lessons you can pick up from us here. So don't be afraid to kind of share with those people as well. But just so you guys understand what this podcast is for. The podcast isn't created directly for Grizzly Fitness necessarily, although I think a lot of our gym members can benefit from listening to the podcast. So the Grizzly life is kind of goofy, right? We've got Grizzly life, Grizzly Fitness. The Grizzly life to me is kind of like a broader, it doesn't need to be just here. Although we've got great members and I want them to support the podcast and help grow the podcast. The Grizzly life I can see being a more broad scale, anybody can tune in, right? It's a podcast. That's what today's age is about. So we've got to be producing content. We've got to be working on the brand. And I think that's just kind of the direction we're going. So again, we're working out the kinks of this podcast. A lot of this is practice. It's always going to be practice, right? We're always working to get better and improve ourselves. But eventually I want to be doing a lot of interviews. I want to be doing a lot of different perspectives and getting people involved. I want people to hear really awesome stories about how they've changed their life. And just, I want it to be relatable to everybody. So I understand just my perspective or my words. They might not always be relatable to you in your exact situation, but I want to do my best to bring other individuals on to get different point of views, to get different perspectives, to get different stories that might relate directly to you. So I've got that's kind of where I'll leave off with that. So that's kind of the goal of this podcast, so you guys are aware. I do want to talk about, I made a comment earlier. Actually, we'll save that for next episode, because next episode is going to be a little bit more about like financial tips and stuff like that. So today's episode, I'd like to preface, I'd like to throw out there that I am obviously the guy who speaks most on this podcast. So oftentimes or sometimes I will be talking about some personal stories of mine, things that I'm going through, maybe a rant, maybe a vent, just to get some things out there. If you don't follow me on Snapchat, I do post a lot of my behind the scenes stuff. So for example, this Saturday morning, I did it wasn't very special at all, but I came in and did a quick video of what this podcast studio looks like behind the camera, what you guys don't see. All you see is this wall that's kind of painted, this desk, maybe some lighting, whatever. I want you guys, if you do follow me on Snapchat, you'll kind of see the behind the scenes stuff, what I eat on a day-to-day basis, how often I'm working out kind of as an accountability thing for myself. If I go for walks, if I go for bike rides, I kind of post all that stuff on there. But then I also post, as we're moving gym equipment into new facilities, I post the gyms that we install for Priority Fitness. So if we install a brand new high school, that goes up on my Snapchat most of the time. And so you kind of see a lot of our projects, a lot of our homework, a lot of our just things that we're working on. The last week or so, my brother and I, G, the producer, have been moving a bunch of miscellaneous gym equipment around, from storages to specifically the Berlin gym. It's just where we work out in the morning. So we've just been moving some stuff there since we're there. It's basically been a bunch of stuff we've had in storage that needed to get to Berlin, and it just hasn't. So anyways, if you want to add me on Snapchat, Colton.Burt, Colton.Burt. I am trying to do a better job of getting some of that content on Instagram and Facebook as well. So if you want to add me there, ColtonBurt19 is the handle there. So again, just kind of giving you guys an update, background on the podcast and what's going on. So the first thing I'd like to mention is this is more of like a personal story kind of, and it loops into Priority Fitness, the business itself. But this is something that I've always been working on. If you know my story and kind of how this all began, again, if you don't, go back and listen to episodes 1 through 4. But we originally started by buying and selling gym equipment, essentially. And the market 8 years ago when I started doing this, or in 2017, was a lot different. I could buy a handful of machines for $500 and I could keep 2 and I could sell the rest for $1,000 and it was great, right? Like that was just what I was doing. And that's how we kind of that's how we built up cash in the beginning and allowed us to grow the business into what it is today. Started out with not a lot of money, started buying and selling equipment. I mean, literally we started out with like $2,500 or $3,000. And that was enough to buy a couple pieces and flip them and sell them and just continue that process on and on and on. So now the equipment market is absolutely insane. COVID, the year of 2020, 2021, did not help anything because everybody bought as much equipment as they could for their house, stopped going to the gym, and which was great for us for Priority Fitness because we sold a bunch of gym equipment and we made a bunch of cash real quick, which is cool. But then what happened was everybody eventually wanted to go back to the gym and then they wanted to sell the equipment out of their house. So basically, it flooded the market. There's used cardio equipment all over the place. And so the used cardio market is down. It's harder to sell used cardio. Gym owners will still buy from us because we recondition or refurbish the gym equipment. We sell it with a warranty, right? Like, so there's still the gym owners that buy the used cardio. But typically we sell a decent amount of used commercial cardio equipment into homes because the sale there, like the little blurb there is that it's commercial gym equipment, and when it's in a home, it's never going to break down, right? Generally speaking. So we usually move a decent amount of product into used homes. It's just the market's kind of goofy now with all of the used product out there, and people for home just kind of buy whatever, unless you find a buyer that's looking for the warranty and all that stuff. So not where I'm going with the story. So the used strength equipment market is insane. I have been buying gym equipment used for all of our gyms for some time, obviously about 8 years. And now what's happening is all of our USA made product from basically ever, 70s, 80s, 90s, all this really cool, rare stuff, things that are no longer produced, the market is insane for it. And so what's happening is there's a bunch of people in the US that has connections overseas. They buy and sell this equipment and they sell it, like everything goes to like the UK, Europe in general, right? So equipment that we can sell here for say $2,000 or $3,000 might be going for double that across seas. There's these like high bidders over there. They've got this whole process. I don't personally know how it works. I sell to some of the people that will then resell it across or resell it overseas, which I'm, it is what it is. I prefer to keep the USA made product in Wisconsin, in USA if we can, not just Wisconsin. Obviously Wisconsin for me because I want it in our gyms. But so I guess what I'm saying is it's just been a weird thing. So one of my hobbies or one of my things that I like to do is I like to shop around in Facebook Marketplace and try to find good deals. Everybody likes to do that for their own little niche area, their little thing that they're into. They like to buy and sell equipment, or they just like to shop Marketplace, right, and find good deals. That's what everybody likes to do. So I like to do the same thing with used gym equipment. And so what I've been doing is I've been looking across basically from California to New York to Florida, Georgia, and I'm trying to find cool gym equipment and get it shipped into us so we can keep as much of it as we can here. And so a lot of the times I'm taking risk because I've never tried the piece of equipment, but I've heard good things about it, or I try to watch videos on it if we can. But a lot of this is so cool and rare and old school that you just don't see it around anymore. Like you're not going to just be able to drive to a YMCA in the Valley or Milwaukee or whatever and be able to try this equipment out. So that's kind of a cool little thing of ours. And it kind of is one of the things that makes Grizzly Fitness different, right? Because we've just got stuff that you just don't see around anymore. And that's kind of what got me started in the industry when I was like 18, 19 anyways, was just learning about gym equipment and how cool it was. So there's a ton of ins and outs when it comes to the rare gym equipment, understanding what brands are no longer manufactured and what brands are highly sought after. But I just wanted to kind of let you guys know it's something that I've been personally working on. If you do have me on Snapchat, you see me moving a bunch of equipment around on the trailers. All that stuff is generally extremely rare, no longer produced, hard to find. And we have like 2 2 offsite storages that we use that just collects rare gym equipment. So if we ever do open a new facility, expand a facility, need a new piece of equipment for a facility, like we just have stuff in storage for that. So that is a pastime of mine. If you were wondering what I like to do with my free time. So basically everything revolves around the gym. So that was my brief little story for you guys today. I do have a couple other things that I wanted to talk about on today's episode. Let me pull it up here. So the thing that I want to teach you guys or give you guys some insight on today, we're totally changing gears here, but I use Aura, the Aura ring, and I use Whoop, as I've mentioned in the past. Those of you who don't know what those are, Aura is a ring, and Whoop, I have them both on right now, ring, a little like watch band-like thing. I've used both because I like different metrics from each. They both are subscription-based things. I think the ring is $5, $6 a month or something like that. It's not too expensive. There's an upfront cost to it, and then the Whoop is like no upfront cost, but you pay like $20 a month or something, right? So if you buy the year subscription of $350 or whatever it is, you get the Whoop for free. That's kind of how they sell you on it. So the thing that I want to talk about is they both have what's called, I think Whoop calls it, let me pull it up so I can give you guys accurate data here, but the Whoop calls it, I know the Aura calls it, okay, so Whoop calls it your Whoop age and Aura calls it your cardiovascular age. What's cool is these are tracking your metrics over time, and they're kind of giving you, compared to your actual biological age, because your birthday is in here, it's giving you like your pace of aging. So we're going to specifically talk about Whoop, because that one I like better for like the pace of aging. So basically, Whoop gives you a Whoop age. It's a weird word, I'm sorry. A Whoop age, WHOOP. And they track a bunch of metrics week to week, and they basically kind of add them up and kind of let you know that if you're going in the right direction or the wrong direction, progressing or regressing. And so your goal is to be younger than your biological age if you're in the fitness field and you're active and all that stuff. So what I want to dive into, for those of you who don't want to buy the Whoop or buy the Aura ring, what metrics they use to show you if you're improving your basically physical fitness or not. So let me click on this here so we can kind of talk about each one. So I've been kind of sick recently, as you guys may know. And so the first one is sleep consistency. This one has been screwed up for me recently. I was doing really well up until I was sick. So of course I've fallen off for a couple weeks here. But what sleep consistency is, on this metric itself, on Whoop, the way it tracks is it tracks over the previous 4 days, and it tracks the exact time you go to sleep and the exact time you go to sleep and the exact time you wake up. So they're saying one of the most important traits to slow down your pace of aging, to be more physically fit and healthier, is to have an extremely consistent sleep cycle. That way your body and your circadian rhythm, all those things can work together. Your body can anticipate when you need to wake up. It's basically your internal body clock that it's trying to keep in check. Having a varying sleep schedule is just hard on the body. What they say is when you have a more consistent sleep schedule, you've got more mental clarity, less brain fog, you're waking up feeling good. Generally, if you have a really good sleep schedule, you're waking up right before your alarm. Your body just knows like, oh, it's time to get going, right? So for me, I try to go to bed at 8:30 and I try to wake up at 5:30. Like that's my goal. I need to be in bed for that full 9 hours. I drink so much water every day. I wake up every morning, in the middle of the night to pee because that's just what I do. So then I go back to bed and sometimes I have a hard time falling back asleep. So for me personally, maybe that was enough information for you or not, but for me personally, I need the full 9 hours laying in bed with how often I wake up and do that kind of stuff. So metric number 1 is sleep consistency. Mine has personally gone down, but basically it's tracking how often you're going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time. What happens is once you really start dialing that in, it gives you a score from 0% to 100% sleep consistency, and that would be waking up like on the minute. So they say as long as you're kind of in that 80 to 90%, that's good. And staying above that 90% is like optimal, right? So My goal is a 75% sleep consistency. It has not been that for the last couple weeks. And what sucks is when you get out of your sleep cycle. So let's say like when I was really sick, or I don't want to say I was really sick, but when I was sick, I was going to bed, earlier, later, like all over the place because I was taking more naps and whatever. Basically, it's just screwed up my last couple weeks of my actual sleep schedule. So now that this week I've been really dialed on my sleep schedule again, except one night, like I just haven't even gotten back to my 75% sleep consistency. So I'm just blabbing, but just so you know, one of the metrics that they really kind of count on is how consistent you are with your sleep cycle. The next metric they give you for your Whoop age is your hours of sleep. So again, the less hours of sleep you get, the worse, and the more hours of sleep you get, the better. Now, at a certain point, yes, I don't want you getting 10 hours of sleep. That's not what they're saying, but it tracks your metrics. It realizes how many hours of sleep you need every night, depending on the individual, 8, 8.5, 7.5, whatever it is. And then it will kind of gauge like, okay, hey, you've been getting your 8 hours lately. That's really good. So for me, my hours of sleep, it says on average is 7 hours and 48 minutes a night. And that's giving me minus 0.2 years of my Whoop age. So again, this updates weekly for me. So it'll give me my new like updated age on a week-to-week basis. So currently I'm 24.7. And it's kind of like a game too, which is kind of cool. I'm trying to get that age younger, right? I'm trying to reverse aging process. I'm trying to feel young. So currently I'm 24.7 on here. So those are the two sleep metrics they give us. The next ones are all about activity and fitness. So they call it like your strain targets. Time in heart rate zones 1 through 3 weekly. This one would be hard to do on your own. The two sleep ones are things that you can help improve without really tracking too crazy. But some of these are going to be more heart rate zone related. And obviously, if you're not tracking your heart rate, it's going to be tough to specifically know the exact amount of time. But time in heart rate zones 1 through 3 weekly. So there's zone 0 up to 5, right? 5 is like damn near your max beats per minute. And then it kind of tapers down. Again, this is an individual. The zones depend on your age and your personal fitness. But the goal here is to get 2 to 3 hours a week in that 1 to 3 in the heart rate zones 1 through 3. Me personally, I'm averaging 1 hour and 59 minutes. So I'm getting about 2 hours a week. And that's giving me minus 0.1 years. So they'd like to get me up to more like 2.5, 3 hours on average a week, which my goal is 2.5. The way to get your heart rates up in these zones, for somebody like me, would be doing like incline walks, obviously going for a run. Anything that gets your heart rate up high is good, but an incline walk, I personally, if I go for like just a flat walk at 3 miles an hour, my heart rate's not getting high enough. So I have to do an incline walk. I have to go for a bike ride. If I get a lift in and I'm supersetting a lot of my exercises, so like towards like the middle to my end of my workout, I'm usually getting about 15 to 20 minutes in this zone as well through my strength training. So thinking of kind of like cardiovascular activities that can just get your heart rate up enough where you're not out of breath, but you're breathing heavier than a normal is kind of a good way to gauge that. So again, those of you that think you're doing enough, I'm just kind of giving you some insights on like what they track so you can kind of do what you want with that and kind of help improve your personal stuff. So again, at least 2 hours a week in this zone, but if you can shoot for 3, that's like optimal. It's tough for even me to do, so I'm just throwing that out there. This next one is very hard for me to do. Like I don't do good at this one at all. Time in heart rate zones 4 through 5. I'm much more of a lifter than I am a cardio guy, but I do want to get this one up. And what this one is going to do is it's going to help our VO2 max. I can do another. I would like to educate you on VO2 max. I'll actually pull up some stuff here real quick so I can give you guys some information. But time in heart rate zones 4 through 5. My goal is 5 minutes a week. They say to be optimal 1 hour. I don't know how it's possible for me unless you're running like marathons or like sprinting all the time. Again, if you're a kid, you're probably doing this naturally. But for me, and as we age, this is tougher. So I'm getting on average 1 minute a week of my heart rate up in zones 4 through 5, which is like 100 and I think 65 to 165 plus or 160 plus for me for my heart rate. So that one's a little tougher for me, but making sure you're getting your heart rate up on a week-to-week basis is important to make sure everything's working good. So And then the next one I do a really good job of is strength activity time. I'm getting an average of 4 hours and 16 minutes of strength training in a week. That's giving me minus 1.6 years on my Whoop age. So that one's pretty straightforward. How often are you doing some strength training stuff? The next one is your daily steps. The range is anywhere from 0 to 16,000 steps. I'm getting an average of about 12,500 steps, and that is giving me minus 0.6 years of life. So again, this is just kind of giving you guys some insight and some goals. So I always tell everybody 10,000 steps should be your first goal. My most recent goal has been kind of more of like that 12 to 15,000 a day prior to me not feeling well in the last couple weeks. So again, my goal is going to be that 12 to 15,000 steps per day, and that'll kind of help keep me young as well. The last three here is your VO2 max, which give me a second. I'll pull up some stuff to kind of give you some explanation on that. Your resting heart rate. So I've been working on getting my resting heart rate down. The way to do this is less body fat, breathing through your nose, stuff like that. The more physically fit you are, the better that resting heart rate's going to be. And then your lean body mass. So it knows my lean body mass because I do the in-body at our gyms. My in-body links directly to this Whoop, or I might actually look at my in-body results and put it in here. I can't remember. But your lean body mass is another one that will help affect your age as well. So the more lean you are, it's not keeping you necessarily younger, but the less lean you are, or the more body fat you do have, it's going to affect your age negatively. So those are some insights there. Let me, before we wrap up this episode, pull up something for you on the VO2 max to give you guys a brief explanation on that. So VO2 max is a measure of how much oxygen your body can use during intense exercise. It stands for maximal oxygen uptake, the maximum amount of oxygen your body can deliver to your muscles per minute, measured in milliliters of oxygen per kilogram of body weight per minute, right? So a bunch of stuff that you don't necessarily need to know, but this is a very good indicator of fitness. This is going to be kind of like, I think strength and cardio kind of go into it, but again, this is just a very good indicator. And they say the VO2 max is a very good test and thing to understand for longevity. And I'm not a scientist. I'm not like a super fitness guru, so I haven't done a ton of studying on the VO2 max. I just know I'm trying to improve mine. And the ways that I'm trying to do that is increase to 2.5 to 3 hours a week of the minimal heart rate zones, and then also trying to get that heart rate zones 4 and 5 on a week-to-week basis. So the more I can do of that extreme heart rate, I think that'll overall help my VO2 max in the long run. So it says the higher your VO2 max, generally the better your ability to sustain high-intensity effort like running, cycling, rowing, etc. And the higher VO2 max is associated with better heart and lung health, lower risk of chronic disease, and greater longevity. So do what you want with that information. I just wanted to kind of give you guys some insights on that because I feel like if you don't want to, I recommend everybody has something to track some of this stuff, or a Ring, Whoop, whatever you want to do. But if you don't want to do that, which not everybody needs to do it, I just want to tell you what goes into kind of like decreasing that age behind the curtain type thing. So versus your biological age, how do you really feel? How's your body functioning? I think it's just a cool little thing to follow. So that's what I'm going to leave you guys with today. It was a lot of little insight stuff there. Do as you please with that. And shoot me a question or shoot me a message if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any ideas, insights to that. If you track any of that stuff already, if you have an Aura or a Whoop and you've got like a really crazy Whoop age, positive or negative, I'd like to hear about it. So let me know. And we'll kind of wrap up there. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Episode 55. We will be recording episode 56 here shortly. So you guys have a good one, and we'll see you soon.